Today we're going to be reading Am I the Asshole? Our first post. Am I the asshole for being mad at my husband who was going to give away $10,000 to his sister without even asking me about it? They're a way created to keep some privacy. On Saturday morning, I noticed my husband was sending a lot of text messages back and forth. He is usually not much of a texter. He left the phone next to me to charge while he was in the other room. The phone kept lighting up with text messages when I decided to open it up and see what the big discussion was about. I know some couples view it as a big breach of trust to read through a significant other's phone, but my husband and I do it regularly, so this is not a huge invasion of privacy on my end. We both have nothing to hide and it has never been an issue before. Anyway, of course I saw something on the phone that I shouldn't have that got me upset. For background, my husband is 34 and I'm 32 and his sister is 31. She's in this story. Husband and I have been together for 10 years, married for the last 4 years. We all have college education with jobs now. My husband and I each make good salaries, around $150K each. We own our own house. I still have about $60K in student loans that I'm working to pay off. Luckily, low interest rate, so I can just pay the minimum. We have about $40K liquid in savings. So we're doing good financially, but still need to build up more savings as we'll probably start a family in the next 1 to 2 years and want to be prepared for an emergency and have a rainy day fund. Anyway, my husband's sister is trying to buy a 1-bedroom apartment in New York. I saw the text message that my husband offered to give her $10,000 for her down payment. The money in savings is our money. Our bank accounts are 100% combined. My husband manages 99% of the finances because I prefer not to deal with it. However, it is understood we consult each other regularly on major things. He did not ask me if I was okay with him giving this money to his sister. She didn't ask, he offered. I immediately confronted him, calmly, and was like, "Hey, did you tell your sister to give her $10,000? He said yes. I asked when he was going to tell me. He said he probably wasn't. He figured I wouldn't notice and didn't think I would care about the details. I said, do you think $10,000 is a detail? He said, no, that is a lot of money and I should have told you about it. Are you okay with it? I said, no, I don't think I am. Anyway, we decided in that moment not to give the money. He said he would tell his sister and she would understand. He wanted the issue to go away after that. But I am still mad. I said this was a big breach of trust. I let him control all the finances because I trust him to never ever take advantage of my ignorance. Shouldn't you be able to trust your husband? So now, I don't have that full amount of trust I had before and want to open my own bank account, which frankly, I should have anyway. But am I the asshole for being totally upset and feeling betrayed about this? I grew up poor and $10,000 is a lot of money to me. I mean to most people, right? I'm horrified he would consider giving it away and not even telling me. You are not the asshole. The sister isn't either because he offered and she didn't know what was going on there. But your husband is a total asshole for going behind your back and not even caring after and just wanting this to go away like he didn't do any wrong. Time for our second post. Am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law she can do her chore or find another place to live? Throw away because of reasons. My 36 female mother-in-law has been disabled for the past 7 years due to a minor heart attack. She doesn't work and receives a small amount of money each month. After her heart attack, she got evicted from 2 apartments due to non-payment of rent. Part of it was she wasn't making enough on disability, but she's also not good at managing what little she does get. My husband and I wound up moving her into our house as a temporary solution until she could get housing assistance and get a lower income apartment. This was 4 years ago. My husband and I both work full-time and we have 3 kids ranging from 5 to 15. Despite working full-time, we still make sure that we take care of stuff around the house. My husband does laundry and the kids do small chores, sweeping, taking out trash, etc. And they all play sports, so we have a full and busy schedule. We make mother-in-law pay a couple $100s a month to help cover her food and the increase in utilities. She has no license, so she's always at home, which significantly increases our electric and gas. And all we've ever asked her to do is one chore, the dishes. We have a dishwasher, so it's not like a strenuous or time-consuming task. It takes maybe 20 to 30 minutes. At first, everything was fine, but over the last year, she started to get lazy. She'll go 2 to 3 days without doing the dishes until someone said something or she had to clean them because we had nothing to eat with. We talked to her about it a couple times. She'll get better and then go back to slacking off. This past weekend, she went 2 days without doing dishes. We ate out on one of these days, so there wasn't much to clean the first day anyways. And when I asked her to please do the dishes so I had what I needed to make dinner, she started to complain how she's the only one who ever does that chore and said someone else should do them that time. Reddit, I lost it. I reminded her that this was a deal when letting her move in, and she literally does nothing else 24/7, while the rest of us work or have school and still do stuff around the house. I told her she can't manage to put forth 3 measly hours of work over the course of an entire week, that she could find somewhere else to live. My husband agrees with me, but she went crying to her daughter and other son, both of them who live in different states, so we get a mouthful about being disrespectful and how she's too old to worry about chores. She's 56. Okay, so I just realized I made a mistake with the ages. I accidentally called OP's age the grandmother's age, so sorry on that one. She took to Facebook last night acting like she's Cinderella, and now my husband's side of the family, with an exception of an uncle who knows how she is, thinks I'm the asshole. Am I? No, you're not, and if the other family members really have such a problem, why don't they take her in? They won't, because they're not as caring as you. Or if they are, they know she's a handful to deal with. So unless they want to take her in, they can be quiet and accept that's your house and she's not doing that much for living rent-free like that. Well, not even rent-free. She's paying little rent, but you know what I mean. Time for our third post. Am I the asshole for getting my son the wrong pet since his sister is afraid of snakes? My husband and I have 3 kids. 2 are my steps, 1 is mine biologically. We're an animal-loving family, but bad allergies has us keeping mostly reptiles. Last year, my husband's 20-something-year-old ball python passed, and the year before that, our rescue garter snake suddenly died. The only other pets we had were some tropical fish that belonged to my oldest stepson, who moved out a few months ago and took them with him. My younger stepson, B, 13-year-olds, really wanted a snake, particularly a corn snake, but the issue is my 9-year-old daughter is petrified of snakes. I have no idea why. She was raised around them, but she's always avoided the snake room like a plague, and would cry if she was in the same room as one when they were out of the enclosures. We've tried to address her fear, but the snakes just end up sending her into a panic, and I'm not to put my little girl in exposure therapy at 9. I told my husband we shouldn't bring another snake into the house until our daughter's phobia is handled. He agreed despite previously promising B he'd get his own snake when he was old enough. This promise was years ago, by the way, and I was not a part of it. We are friends with a painted turtle breeder who has a large clutch this season and still has some baby turtles for adoption. We were going to take B this past weekend to the breeder to get his turtle, reward for good grades. But when he found out we were getting a turtle and not a snake, he was extremely upset and kept yelling about how we promised him a snake and how he missed Radgar, our late ball python. He's mad at his sister now too, and blames her for being a baby, and I was choosing her over him. We didn't go to the breeder, and if he doesn't apologize, he won't be getting any animal. But am I being an ass about the snake? My husband said our daughter handled being in a house with 2 snakes most of her life, and she'll likely grow out of her fear eventually. I'm not convinced, and frankly I'm upset at how rude and ungrateful B has been to us, but I feel guilty about letting him down. They actually have some more information in their edit, so let's check that out. At first my reaction was, no one's the asshole because, yeah, you're upset because your daughter, and that's rightful, but he's also upset because he wanted that pet and was promised it. But after reading the edit, I'm gonna turn the thing and say your son's being an asshole. So let's read the edit and find out. He called his sister names and was generally very mean about it, raised his voice at me and his dad. That's unacceptable, and if you think that's an okay reaction for being disappointed, I really hope you never look after kids. If he said sorry, he'd be off the hook, but he refuses. If he didn't want the turtle, we offered a lizard or another alternative, but he was too distracted by his tantrum to listen. My daughter can't articulate why she's so scared of snakes. She just is. We've addressed it, but nothing has worked. Her fear is the reason why we never got any other snakes. Okay, time for our 4th post. Would I be the asshole for 1, telling my friend she overcharged me for a service, and 2, changing the price of my product we traded after the trade was done? A friend of mine is a hairstylist, and I asked about changing my hair from an auburn color to a dark brown and gray balayage. She said it could be done, and it would take a long time. When I asked how much it would be, she said we'll work that part out and we could trade, her doing my hair and I would make some jewelry. I'm a silversmith. Got the first round of hair done, went from auburn to the light brown dirty blonde. I was there for 7 hours, we had lunch, had some beverages, and there was another downtime while the product did its thing. The process of round 1 was bleaching, then rinse and dry, 1 round of dark hair applied, then rinse and dried, then a gray color applied, rinse and dried. There were 2 to 3 more sessions needed to get where I wanted. It was nowhere done. We got together after, and she chose some jewelry and put together some pieces I will make for her. I still owed her $200 in cash after said and done. She left, I added everything up, and the total was $990. I was shocked. I asked her if that was just 1 session or the whole thing, and she said that was just for the first session, and it won't cost that much the second time around. She made a comment that I need to charge more for my jewelry in the future, and I let her know I was being conservative with my prices and didn't charge retail. I charged family and friend prices. All this was through text. I think if you're going to be charging your friend $1,000 for a service, that should be disclosed up front. I would expect it to be like $300. Bad communication there, perhaps on both our parts. Had I known it was going to be $1,000 to do my hair with her, there was no way I would have gone through with it. In my eyes, that is outrageous, and I do not have that kind of money to spend on my hair and never would. Parts of me wants to go back and say if she is charging full price, then I need to charge full price for my product as well, and the price of her jewelry has changed. Also, if she knew that's how much it was going to be, which she did say in a text, that should have been disclosed, and it was kind of dirty not telling me. The other part of me is saying suck it up, don't say anything, and just don't go back to her to finish my hair. Lesson learned. Oh my god, let me tell you something. Your friend is mad overcharging you. And to really not say anything about the price when you know it's going to be that high, she was fully taking advantage of you. I'm going to be honest here. She got your jewelry for free and she still made what she would have made for doing your hair. But I feel like you would kind of be the asshole if you went back and said these things to her. I feel like this is one of the lesson learned situations. But maybe this is also one of those stations where you're like, fuck it, I will be the asshole. I don't care. Maybe you should be the asshole. You would still be one, but it's justified. A justified asshole. And for our last post, am I the asshole for wanting to quit my job over a 10-minute break? I work for a human services direct care job, so I don't have to get a break. There are usually only 3 people in the office, my 2 bosses and me. I have other coworkers, but they work in the community. I work with clients in a windowless room 5 days a week, and whenever I ask for a 10-minute break, my bosses yell at me saying they don't have time. I get that, I really do. However, they also every day, 5 days a week, go on a half-hour break. I feel like if they have time to take a break, they at least have time to give me 10 minutes of fresh air. The pay is pretty good, but recently the schedule has changed and I'm getting more clients. I talked to them about getting a break and they gave me the same shit they always do. They don't have time. I'm frustrated, burnt out, and I go to work crying every day. I think this is one of those cases where you just have to find another job, my dude. It sounds like it's really damaging to you and your bosses are assholes, and for them taking a 30 minutes, they can at least give you 10. That's not even half of what they take. I would seriously look for another job, and I wish you luck. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.